in Kaysville, Utah. They have gotten a $15,000 fine for violating a federal law that bans the sale of soda during lunch. The school turned off all the soda machines that were located in the lunchroom during the lunch period, which lasts about 47 minutes. They forgot one that's in the school bookstore, and they got fined. To pay the fine, school says they're probably going to have to make some cuts, or they could make cuts in the theater program, the music program, and the debate program, because I guess the selling of the soda, which is a whole other issue, right, funds those programs, which is horrible, really, when you think about it. That has to be funded. Those programs that kids should get anyway, funded on the backs of paying for soda. The school, any school that receives funding for the federal school lunch program has obviously certain nutritional guidelines that they have to agree to. One of those guidelines is no soda sold during lunch, no carbonated beverages. Here's what the school's principal said. He says the law's filled with baffling loopholes, and it doesn't work anyway because the kids can go around the corner to the convenience store and buy soda. So, and he also said, listen, we can sell a Snickers bar, but we can't sell licorice. We can't sell Swedish fish, but we can't sell Starburst. We can't sell Skittles. We can sell ice cream. We can sell the Snickers bar, the Milky Way, and all that other stuff. This poor principal, whose name is Burton, D. Burton, from Davis High School, sounds utterly perplexed and mad. And if you think they're paying something like $5,700 per student, so a $15,000 fine, that's like, that's a law. That's a lot.
I don't want my kids eating sweets at school.
Totally
I don't
agree.
want my
Me
kids
neither.
drinking Cokes at school.
Agree.
But this shows the absurdity of the federal government, Washington, D.C., dictating what's going on in a vending machine at some school. Where'd you say it was? Somewhere in the United States.
But at the same time,
impossible.
It's a very contorted regulation. Clearly, if they can sell Snickers bars, there's something wrong with the way this was written, either because there's some sort of intervention, like who's funding what. But I mean, it just sounds like they could simplify it, right?
Yeah, they just not have a federal law.
No matter what you do.
Well, and how about the bigger picture is, like, why do you have a theater program based on selling soda, right? Because really, ultimately, at the end of the day, you're pushing kids to buy soda so you can have a theater department, a debate team, and a music department.
But this is what's so wrong with having the federal government involved at all. If they just don't make this decision.
But they're funding it. I see why they'd say, if you're going to fund it, you got to have healthy food.
But let the school boards decide, and let the school boards.
But for funding, wouldn't they decide? If they had the chance to decide, wouldn't the school board say?
I'm all for healthy eating for our kids, but you know, silly laws out of Washington D.C. aren't going to make it any better. It's just
because it's impossible. Thousands of miles away. Here's your money, but here's the strings. Figure them out if you can.
Or we shouldn't sell soda to fund the debate team. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's wrong. I've got to get to the T's. Everyone's yelling at me. All right, still ahead this morning. This is a crazy story. Have you heard about this guy from New Jersey, businessman, jailed in Bolivia, has not been charged, and in Bolivia they don't have to charge you for 18 months. We'll tell you why he's been locked up for 11 months in a prison that's more like a village. I mean, look at these pictures. It's like a village prison. His wife is fighting for his release. We're going to talk to her straight ahead about what's happening there. And Newark's mayor, sorry, Mayor Bloomberg, my mayor, Newark's mayor, Cory Booker, on the attack against President Obama's negative campaign ads. He's backtracking a bit this morning. We'll tell you why. You're watching Starting Point. We're back in just a moment.
Somebody got a hold of him.
Yeah, that's
You didn't choose to travel like this, but you can choose to travel like this and enjoy more of this, and this. It's a new stay. This is Courtyard.
Healthier, more radiant skin. It's in your future now. Discover the power of Aveeno Positively Radiant with Total Soy. It's clinically proven to visibly reduce past damage, while broad-spectrum SPF 30 helps prevent future damage. Aveeno Positively Radiant.
For heart health, Mega Red Omega-3 Krill Oil. Unlike fish oil, Mega Red is small and easy to swallow with no fishy smell or aftertaste. Mega Red. And to get even more of the #1 omega-3 supplement, try Mega Red Extra Strength.
CNN Tonight, 8 Eastern. Anderson Cooper is keeping them honest.
What it is ludicrous, and that's why you can't come up with an explanation.
AC 360, CNN Tonight, weekday.
weekdays. It's Markets Now on Fox Business.
Big sales for automakers.
We will indeed see some reaction down here. Hedge funds are selling. That is one of the important points.
Tracking every trade, watching every sector.
The stock's actually at an all-time high.
U.S. manufacturing continued to expand.
Minute by minute, Markets Now is your source for real-time business news.
Gold and silver dropping like lead balloons today.
You still can find some opportunity.
Only one network has its pulse on the financial world. Fox Business, Time Warner Cable Channel 43.
I could use charm to get a better deal, but intimidation is more fun. Watch and learn.
Hi.
I want this Buick with OnStar, Sirius XM, and you're doing my oil changes.
Okay.
Hey, I want all that stuff too.
Okay.
Okay? If you don't know the experience Buick lease, you don't know Buick.
Celebrate Memorial Day and lease this 2012 Buick LaCrosse with e-Assist for just $279 per month. Consider it a new lease on luxury.
Free.
Marion Jones gets personal with Piers Morgan. Tonight, 9 Eastern.
Americans are always ready to work hard for a better future. Since Ameriprise Financial was founded back in 1894, they've been committed to putting clients first, helping generations through tough times, good times, never taking a bailout, there when you need them, helping millions of Americans over the centuries. The strength of a global financial leader, the heart of a one-to-one relationship. Together, for your future.
Smart is the new rich, sponsored by Ameriprise Financial. Since 1894, we've helped millions of Americans achieve dreams. Start lives together. Start brighter futures. Start a confident retirement. Ameriprise Financial, more within reach.
Welcome back, everybody. Let's get right to Christine Romans. She's got a look at our top stories this morning. Hey, Christine.
Hi there, Soledad. Chinese activist Chen Guangcheng is now in the United States. After escaping house arrest in his country, Chen, a vocal critic of China's government, will study law at New York University. But his struggles may not be over. New Jersey Congressman Chris Smith told us earlier the Chinese government tracks down dissidents who run to the U.S.
They are tracked, they are followed, they are harassed. So he will have to be watched. He will have to, there will have to be an extra layer of protection right here in New York. Because they do things like car crashes or, something happens that is made to look like an accident. So we have to keep, a very, very sharp focus on his safety. Pictures in
Chen says he plans to eventually return to China. Newark, New Jersey Mayor Cory Booker is now backing off some surprising comments he made criticizing President Obama for attacks on Mitt Romney. Booker told NBC's Meet the Press yesterday that he was uncomfortable with President Obama attacking Romney's record at Bain Capital.
If you look at the totality of Bain Capital's record, they've done a lot to support businesses, to grow businesses, and this, to me, I'm very uncomfortable.
Now, Booker says Romney's record at Bain is fair game. In a new YouTube video, Booker says the president is, quote, reasonable to scrutinize Romney's business record.
I believe that Mitt Romney, in many ways, is not being completely honest with his role and his record, even while a business person, and is shaping it to serve his political interest.
Booker says his earlier remarks were meant to express his frustration with negative campaigning overall. Booker is a Democrat and is supporting President Obama for re-election. In today's Smart is the New Rich, oil prices are pulling back and gas prices have dropped 18 cents a gallon since April. But President Obama may soon tap the Strategic Petroleum Reserve anyway. Over the weekend, the G8 countries said in a joint statement they would release oil from their strategic reserves if tough new sanctions on Iran put a strain on supplies. That way prices can be kept under control if the conflict with Iran over its nuclear program escalates. National average for a gallon of regular is about $3.69, falling over the weekend. But, it's not just oil and gas prices on the decline. Other commodities, their bubbles appear to be deflating as well. And you could see price drops at the supermarket. Sugar and coffee futures are both down last week. Kraft Foods announced it's lowering prices on many of its U.S. coffees, including Maxwell House and some instant coffees. J.M. Smucker said it's slashing prices on Folgers and Dunkin' Donuts brands. So I guess, Soledad, that means
what does
drink up.
Yeah, what does
Fill up,
slashing prices mean?
Fill up and drink up. 6% lower, 4 to 6% lower in some cases. After a year of rising coffee prices.
Okay. I was thinking it was going to drop
down.
like a penny, but it sounds like there's actually a decent drop. All right, Christine, thank you.
You're welcome.
This is an incredibly strange story to tell you about. An American man is sitting in prison in Bolivia, and it's like no prison you've ever heard of. The place is more like a village. It has 3,500 inmates, and they run the place, and they, in fact, even charge rent for a cell. That American man is 53-year-old Jacob Ostreicher, who's been languishing in that prison in Bolivia for 11 months. And in Bolivia, you can be held without charges for up to 18 months. Ostreicher is a businessman from Brooklyn. He worked in construction. When that business went bust, he invested in Bolivian rice farming. He's now being accused in being involved in money laundering. And he recently did an interview with ABC News. Listen.
It's an absolute nightmare. I feel all alone. I am begging the American people to try to help me.
Ostreicher's now on a hunger strike. He's trying to draw attention to his plight. His wife, Miriam Unger, is with us this morning as well. And I know part of your message is really to get the message out. Tell me a little bit about this village. That's a prison. What's it like? It looks horrific.
It is, actually. It is run by prisoners, and the prisoners that are the bosses in this prison are the ones that have the longest prison terms. This is seniority. And there is an average of 1 murder a month. They're all classified as suicides, people folding on knives. And it is true that you can get anything that you need there with the right amount of money. But part of that is what's dangerous, that you can also, you have to buy your security. And the shakedowns are normal there. And Jacob also doesn't speak Spanish, and this is another thing, that he is there alone, even though he is with 3,500 people. He spends 22 hours a day in a cell. He tries to stay away from everyone. The worst part is that he's an innocent man. He didn't do anything wrong. He didn't do anything wrong, and he proved that innocence in a court of law.
In the court, in fact, when he went before a judge, the judge said that he was free to go.
Yes.
And then within days, they had actually remanded him right back to prison.
Yes.
What happened?
We don't know. Basically, the judge was ordered to explain his actions, and what he said was that he overstepped his boundaries by commenting on the evidence submitted by the defense. And a few weeks later, the judge was promoted to the appellate court. So, I mean...
Do you have a sense of what it is that they want? I mean, is this a bribery situation, or have they asked for money?
Well, I can tell you the facts of what happened. I cannot speak ill of the Bolivian government or the Bolivian country. Understand that my husband is still in prison over there, and there are repercussions for that. The facts of the case are that my husband went to Bolivia to run a rice business. There was 15 million pounds of rice produced in the first harvest. When he had to go purchase the bags to store the rice, he needed thousands of bags, and this opened eyes to people who have never heard of a company in Bolivia needing that many bags. An investigation started, and during the investigation, they confiscated 15 million pounds of rice with the excuse that one of the parcels of the land was purchased by a man that was wanted in Brazil 20 years ago. That was the excuse for putting Jacob in prison. The suspicion was illicit gains and criminal organization with absolutely no proof.
When you went to court, and we were talked about going before the judge, you showed all the paperwork that was tracking the money for every single thing that was purchased. And this was the reason your husband was freed the first time.
Yes.
We know that the U.S. ambassador to Bolivia was kicked out of the country. Evo Morales, the president of Bolivia, removed the ambassador. So what happens now? What do you want? Do you want Congress people to step in, the Secretary of State to step in?
Well, yeah, we want Jacob to come home. Besides, what's being done to him is unjust. He's not doing well. He's on a hunger strike since April 15. He's not the same person that he was before, and the State Department has their limitations as to what they can do when you go by diplomatic channels. I believe that this has to be taken on a much higher level. Secretary of State Hillary Clinton needs to get involved here, and I know that she can help my husband. He needs to come home. He is ill, and there will be irreversible damage if this is not escalated on a higher level.
You and your husband have 5 children?
We have 5 children and 11 grandchildren.
And you've been down to the prison yourself and visited him, is that right?
I was there for 5.5 months. I refused to leave him. And
wow.
I gave an interview to CNN in early September, and after that interview, they started a process of obstruction of justice against me, and I had to flee the country.
Well, Miriam Unger, well, we wish you the best of luck. Please let us know, and we'll continue to follow this story.
Yes, I would like to tell the American people that my husband never, ever asked anyone for any help, ever. We are the kind of people that are hardworking people. We come from hardworking parents. This is the first time that we are reaching out to the American people and to the American officials to please help us. We have no other channels. There is a website that people can visit, freejacobnow.com, where they can sign a White House petition that we started, and to contact officials and put pressure on anyone in America that can help my husband.
All right, thank you for telling us and sharing your story. It's so odd and horrific. We appreciate that. We got to take a short break. Still ahead this morning, we're going to talk a little bit about the future of education and what they call the gap year. Dr. Steve Perry is going to join us with that straight ahead. You're watching Starting Point. We're back in a moment.
There are 350 ways to save summer in the U.S. Virgin Islands. Because here in Paradise, we think summer deserves more. More fun. More adventure. More culture. More possibilities. More meaning. Save $350 on your vacation package with our Sizzlin' Sampler promotion. Book now at Travelocity.com/USVI and do your part to save summer. Because summer's worth saving.
I love cash back.
With the Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card,
We earn more cash back for the things we buy most.
1% cash back. Everywhere, every time. 2% on groceries.
3% on gas, automatically.
No hoops to jump through, no annual fee.
That's 1% back on... 2% on my homemade lasagna.
3% back on road trip.
Get 1, 2, 3% cash back. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
Ladies, we dropping you guys off somewhere?
No, we're coming with.
I'm right behind you guys. Really beautiful out here, huh? Cheese! All right. So we want to take a picture of me?
Matt, do you want some help?
I'm good. Night, Matt.
Night.
Hi, guys.
Mike and Brenda found a house that they really wanted.
It was in my sister's neighborhood.
I told you it was perfect for you guys.
It's literally across the street from her sister.
But someone else bought it before they could get their offer together.
We really missed a great
Dodged a bullet there.
So we talked to them about the Wells Fargo Priority Buyer Pre-Approval. It lets people know that you're a serious buyer because you've been credit approved.
We got everything in order so that we could move on the next place we found.
Which was clear on the other side of town.
Wells Fargo, with you when you're ready to move.
CNN Sunday night.
What can these 3 countries teach America about healthcare?
Global lessons, the GPS roadmap for saving healthcare. Sunday night, 8 p.m.
The Westside Tennis Club at Forest Hills. 38 courts, 4 championship surfaces, and just minutes from Midtown. Come join the area's premier tennis club, the Westside Tennis Club. Have you played Forest Hills?
Friend request. Let's be friends, because you're probably brilliant. Request denied. What are you going to do about it? Grenade. What the f—
We make Facebook friendlier than ever. Take Call of Duty to new heights. And make Netflix more powerful.
Okay, I accept your friend request. I was kidding. I was kidding.
Enjoy internet, buffer free. Whatever your passion, we invent ways to love it even more. Time Warner Cable. Enjoy better.
Works. CNN presents Cold War. Own it now on DVD.
This, aren't you chit-chatting? Look at our new member of our panel chit-chatting as we're coming out of commercial. Actually, I wanted to chat this morning with Congresswoman Bono Mack because you have a new new, I guess, leadership role in sort of a unity conference that's happening in the Republican side of Congress. Tell me a little bit of what's happening.
It's actually the Republican Women's Policy Committee that we've created for the first time ever, which is really great. We're trying to make sure that the voices of Republican women in the Congress are actually heard on the national level. There are a lot of women who serve and do the job of being a member of Congress. They work very hard. They're very capable. And they need to be seen a little bit more. I think that our party doesn't do a good job of pushing them out in the forefront. So my goal is to have a lot of my female colleagues on the Republican side out there talking about their vision for America. And, you know, I'm so glad that there is a big debate in the country about women and the women's votes. It's about time. But
do you think there is a war on women, or do you think this is like a media thing where someone comes up with a headline and they, you know, it becomes a story when it's not a story, or do you think it's a political story that's got a headline?
It's politics. It's pure politics. But I'll tell you what, there's not a separate set of women's issues that I'm aware of. Really, we care about the same thing.
But what about the fact that, I mean, ever since kind of this new Congress came in, there have been so many restrictions and regulations that relate to reproductive rights, and there was a committee hearing specifically about the contraceptive coverage. I mean, those are women's issues, right?
Name one law that has been passed.
Well, some of them have passed the House, but they just can't pass the Senate. I guess, to me, I sort of wonder why this big focus on women's reproductive rights when there's so much going on in the
I'll tell you what women care about when I'm home in my district or throughout the country. They care right now that it costs them $60 to fill up their gas tank. They care more about that. They care about it costing a lot more, you know, to drive their kids to school, to get to work. Women care about the economy. They care about jobs.
Is there a bipartisan women's caucus?
There is. There is, but unfortunately it doesn't do enough. It's not really given enough of an opportunity. And the women, by and large, on both sides of the aisle, get along very well. We talk about our families, our commutes. We get along so well. I wish America could see a little bit more of that, because we really don't bicker and fight as much as I think the rest of the Congress does.
Maybe as it looks on television and cable news, as you might think if you watch enough TV. Great. We got to take a short break. Ahead on Starting Point this morning, we're going to talk about the gap year. Should students take a year off after they graduate from high school? Sounds relaxing, doesn't it? Dr. Steve Perry is going to join us to talk about that. Some people say if they take a year off, they're never going to go back. We'll see about that. You're watching Starting Point. We've got a short break. We're back in a moment.
The clock is ticking, America. It's time we focused on reality instead of rhetoric. It's time we finally get serious about energy prices and energy independence. It's time to embrace the fact that America's unsurpassed coal reserves can deliver centuries of affordable electricity. The clock is ticking. There's never been a more important time for America's most abundant, domestically produced energy resource, coal. Visit americaspower.org to get the facts.
I love cash back.
With the Bank of America Cash Rewards credit card,
We earn more cash back for the things we buy most.
1% cash back. Everywhere, every time. 2% on groceries.
3% on gas, automatically.
No hoops to jump through, no annual fee.
That's 1% back on... 2% on my homemade lasagna.
3% back on road trip.
Get 1, 2, 3% cash back. Apply online or at a Bank of America near you.
To some, this is their soup. To others, this is their soup. So right now it's buy one, get one free on most everything in the store. Because the key to dressing well is to suit yourself. You're going to like the way you look. I guarantee it.
When a major hospital wanted to provide better employee benefits while balancing the company's bottom line, their very first word was...
Aflac.
Find out more at forbusiness.com.
If your air conditioner breaks down, don't just call any repairman. Call an expert. Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning. Now get a free second opinion. Call Service Experts Heating and Air Conditioning at 866-EXPERTS.
I went to Ancestry.com, entered her name, and it led me to my grandmother's address in 1930. It's crazy. I used to live 4 blocks away from there.
Get started with your family history at Ancestry.com, and we'll help you make your own discoveries.
We imagined a vehicle that could adapt to changing road conditions. One that continually monitors and corrects for wheel slip. We imagined a vehicle that could increase emergency braking power when you need it most. And we imagined it looking like nothing else on the road today. Then, we built it. The 2012 GLK.
See your authorized Mercedes-Benz dealer for exceptional offers through Mercedes-Benz Financial Services.
Assembly lines that fix themselves. The most innovative companies are doing things they never could before by building on the Cisco Intelligent Network.
This interview with Steve Perry uses the Cisco Intelligent Network, the platform built for innovation.
All right. I love starting my morning with Kanye. We gotta get Kanye on the show. Do you think he'd want to get up early and hang out with us? I think
Maybe
he
he
would.
wouldn't have gone to bed yet.
Kanye, cool.
Let's see that head bobbing again, Steve. Can we see that?
Yes, Steve's dead. This is, of course, off Steve Perry's playlist. Hey, Steve Perry, good morning to you. We're talking about the gap year. Thousands of high school seniors are going to graduate. I know because I'm doing a bunch of commencement addresses. This is when I get really busy, and I love it. Many parents, of course, happy to see their kids go off to college. Maybe not happy to pay for it, but happy to see them go. Other kids are taking what's known as the gap year, time off between high school and college to volunteer or intern or travel or gain a skill. There are some pitfalls to that, of course. Steve Perry is CNN's education contributor. So do you like this idea or not? I kind of like it, actually, the gap year.
And absolutely do not like it.
Why?
Because
it's going to go like that. All right, hostile interview phase, yes. Why?
Right, how about that? We've overdiagnosed and overpampered this generation enough. I mean, for God's sake, you want a gap, it's called summer. Get over it. Spend your time doing an internship during the summer, do an internship during the fall, and do what you have to do. We know that there's a persistence issue, especially among students from historically disadvantaged populations. The last thing that we need to do is engage them in a lifestyle that is not school. Once you're out of practice, you're out of practice. Many people who've gone back to school tell how hard it is for them to get back in the swing of things.
And many people who take a gap year, and I agree, I think there are certain people who should not do a gap year, right, who are thinking about just not going back and they're waffling, and that's really the issue. But if you want to really go do something and it's mapped out, when I took time off before I graduated from college, you know what? You spend a little time in the real world and see what things actually cost and like pay for your meals as opposed to having your parents pay for things. I thought it was a great lesson.
I feel like I need to stand up for my generation here, for the millennials, because don't you actually feel like if we are so pampered as millennials, isn't it kind of good for people to get out in the real world before they go to this even more pampered setting of college?
But you're not getting out in the real world. You still live with your parents. If you want to get out in the real world, homie, get out in the real world.
Right.
Get a job, get a degree.
I think we can agree that some gap years are better than others. Staying at home is one thing, maybe volunteering, doing AmeriCorps, that sort of thing. That's a real character building.
In this economy, though, that kids are graduating from college and there are no jobs to go do. I mean, if there's no job to go into, you have your bachelor's degree, and right now it's really hard for these kids to find a job. Is it still bad for them to take the year off? I mean, really their options now are travel abroad for a year or go to grad school, but it's really hard for them to find a job right now.
Well, one of the things that's important to understand is that nothing is for everyone, and there is no single solution for any group. But I do know that overwhelmingly, when I'm working with children, I'm telling them to go and do what you have to do, which is to go on to college. All these things that you've mentioned can be achieved in other ways. Like, for instance, you could do a semester abroad while still in college. You could take the time off between college and graduate school. There are other ways in which you can engage in something that's not collegiate during the process, making sure that the persistence remains, because in America, our persistence rates, our college matriculation rates actually have decreased over the past couple of years. So doing something like this, I believe, only adds fuel to the fire for people to stay home. You get a job as a bank teller or get a job doing something else, and then you begin to engage in that lifestyle as opposed to the lifestyle of a student, which are very different, by the way.
I'm not sure I agree with you on this one, Steve Perry, but you know, I still like you. One day one of your little boys is going to come to you.
I like you even more. Taking time off from Harvard to spend some time is a little different than taking time off when you don't have any college.
I agree, and I'll tell you this, I suddenly realized how much that tuition was when I was paying for it myself. No question about that. I figured that out really, really fast. Steve Perry, we're out of time. Always great to see you. Thanks for talking with us. Steve Perry is a CNN education contributor. Endpoint with the panels up next. We're back after this commercial break.
The Federalists are coming! They're coming!
When the government threatened their freedom, He was the last to believe in their cause.
You want me to make an army out of a group of peasants?
But became the first willing to die for it.
Today we're going to send a message. Freedom is our wives, our children, and we will defend it or die trying. Que viva Cristo Rey!
Andy Garcia, Eva Longoria. For Greater Glory, rated R, in theaters June 1st.
When I travel, I can't always stick to the same airline and hotel chain. So my travel rewards used to be these. Little hotel shampoos, pillow chocolates, and salty little snack packets. Thank you. But now with Expedia Rewards, I get rewarded for how I travel. Points for any hotel and any flight. See? Yes! Expedia.com. Yes!
Every day they go to work, they're surrounded by beauty. Every time they get inside, they're surrounded by luxury. Every one they take for a test drive surrounds them with joy. Because your Jaguar retailer knows these are cars as alive as you are. And they'd love to show you just how good that can feel.
State officials urge complete evacuation. Severe flooding is expected.
It's okay. We're ready.
When the things that matter most are on the line, make sure we are too. The storm response team at 1-800-SERVPRO. Like it never even happened.
Sarah, every day spent with you has been a gift. So here's a gift for our new life together.
With over 165 years of experience, New York Life can help ensure your loved ones are always taken care of. It's the most selfless gift you can give.
It's Energy Economics 101. States that don't rely on coal pay nearly 70% more for their electricity than states that do. So why does this administration and their EPA continue to impose heavy-handed regulations on coal? By failing to understand the importance of affordable power, the EPA is failing America. Now is not the time to add pain at the plug to our pain at the pump. Now is the time to make your voice heard at americaspower.org.
I got new carpet for this entire room, but I only had to pay for this much of it.
Empire's 60% off sale is on again. You won't want to miss it. Shop at home and save 60% on